Creating accessible math or other subjects with alt text and typing work with Emerie.
Hello everyone, this video is aimed for teachers, especially those who are learning to alt text, but also specifically math teachers who are learning to format their handouts, instructional materials, and worksheets in a way that blind students can properly access them. Today we'll be showing two handouts that my math teacher gave me and showing examples of what is good to alt text and what needs to be typed out. So we'll start with the first handout, which is titled 1.0 and is about functions.
Functions 1.0 definition, functions 1.0 definition, .word, function.
So this is the handout. The first picture we will be going to is, well, actually the first thing we are going to show is a good example of properly embedded and properly written out math content.
Level 1, 1.0 definition, blank. Level 0, what does the following mean to you? Y equals 3x minus 7, you've surely seen some.
So the math in there said y equals 3x minus 7. But what if I don't know what it said? Well, no problem. Since it's properly in here, I can go over to it and read it with my cursor.
Does the follow mean to you? Question. Y equals 3x minus 7.
I can read it. And if you want to do a test, even if you are blind or if you are sighted, you can move your cursor through the math, and if it is able to land on or select individual characters, then you're golden. That's proper readable math to a blind screen reader user. Next, we're going to show an example of math content that is not properly embedded or not properly written out.
Quick keys on.
So I'm just going to jump to the next graphic.
Picture. Quick keys off.
That's what I just did. Okay, so this is a picture of a function. Well, actually, it's a picture, and the question is wants you to determine whether it is a function or is not a function. So if I was looking at this picture,
picture one image,
all I get from it is picture. And if I try to select individual characters,
picture one image 4.98, picture one image 4.98 inches wide.
I cannot select
table with text wrappings to escape functions one land.
Apologize. I cannot select individual characters of this picture, but I can go down here.
Picture one left raise minus
and
2,
I
5 minus 1.
had to have a sighted person read out this image, so I could type this up out to understand the handout. But in this one, I can select individual characters.
Left parent selected.
I can select this parentheses, or
dash.
I could go further over.
2, right, left 1, comma, 1, comma.
Or I could select this comma in the middle of it. So I can select anything in this block of math right here, and it's not actually in math content, but it's just written out with the symbols. So that works too. Okay, next, there's a couple more of these, but they're all pretty much the same and with the same thing. So as an overview, never insert pictures of text. And if you do, don't alt text these pictures. Only remove the picture, or if you really can't remove it, then write out the text that was in the picture, but you need to write out the text that's in the picture either way. So write out the text that is in the picture if it is a picture of text. Do not alt text these kinds of pictures. Next, we're going to pop over to a handout called 1.1, and we're going to show two more examples of when to alt text and when not to alt text, and how to alt text.
Meeting and functions 1.1 domain range word page 3 functions 1 page 1 top of file function.
Okay, so our first example of something you should not alt text
quick keys on
is right
page 2 picture
here.
Table 1 uniform table blank out of page 1 blank.
So I'm just going to go ahead
table 1 uniform
and delete this right here because it wasn't here.
Space row 2 of 4. Page 2 applications menu cut available to new D leaving menus shift cells left radio button check to change the selection press up or down arrow alt plus L F4 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 out of table picture 1 image blank picture 1 in page 1 blank.
So this, let me get to the right page.
Page 2 blank.
That is a picture, if you don't know, if you're blind, that is a picture of a table. On the first row is some number lines, and the following 3 rows are examples of notations of how to notate how to write finite intervals. So this is an example of something you should not alt text. Rather, you should make sure the picture doesn't even exist and put in a table. So I will show you how to insert a table in Word. There's a different process in Google Docs if you are using Google Docs. So you can do this with your mouse, but I'm going to use keystrokes Alt-N-T.
Alt-N, upper ribbon, grid key, leaving menus, table, 1x1 table button to move to an item, press the arrow keys.
And just as the table in the picture was a 3 columns by 4 rows, that is what I'm going to insert.
2x1, 3x1 table, 3x4 table button to move to an item, press. Page 2, edit table 1, uniform table, blank, row 1 of 4, column 1 of 3, page 2.
So now I have this table, and if I was going to be making this document accessible, I would actually take the content from in the picture and type it out in this table. It's okay for the number lines piece to be little pictures in the top row, but make sure they are alt texted. Everything else should be typed out characters. So now we're going to go to the next example of something you should alt text.
Quick keys on. Page 3, picture. Blank.
This is a picture of a graph. It is a picture of a type of a semicircle, and it wants to know some things about this graph. But I cannot see anything about this graph, and I cannot know anything about this graph other than that it is a picture. So the best thing to do in this situation would be to type out a description of the graph in the alt text field. So I'm going to show you how to get there. And of course, this is in Word, Microsoft Word. If you want to do it in Google Docs, there's another video that will teach you how to do that.
Picture 4 image.
So first we have to select it.
Home. Picture 4 image 1.5 inches wide by 1.31 inches selected. Picture 4 graphic. Picture 4 image.
That when I select it, it selects the whole picture and not in any individual piece that I can read. So that's just another way you can see if something is accessible. If it selects the whole thing, then it's a picture. All right, so now I am going to press Alt-J, P, A, T for picture, I think it's picture formatting, alt text. So Alt-J, and of course, if you're sighted or if you like to use your mouse, you can use your mouse on the bar instead.
Upper ribbon, J, P, picture tools, picture A, T, leaving menus, alt text, description, edit, type in text.
And now we've got our alt text box, and I could type in a description.
GRAPH.
And of course, I didn't know it was a graph. I had to have somebody tell me, and I don't know anything further about this graph. So you would actually type in a description and think. If you are at the front of your class and every single person in your class is blindfolded, you need to put in enough information so that every person in your class can do the problem and understand the content. So I would put in the information about this graph, and then I'm going to close the box with, you can press close, or I'm going to
Control space menu move to move for C, leaving menus, functions 1.1 domain blank, page 3.
Close.
Graph image.
All right, everyone. That was the final example of something you should or should not alt text, and that's the instructions on how to alt text in Microsoft Word. Thank you for listening, and make sure that all your worksheets are alt text so that all of your blind students, even if you only have one, can properly participate.